news pod couple minutes. I always say that, but it never really takes me 2 minutes. I will let y'all know what we will be discussing tonight, and we can get started. I'm going to share this out, let everybody kind of get in here, 30-45 minute mark. But tonight will hopefully have a few more starting out. I will be right back. If you get in here, hit I also do have videos on my channel, and I am planning on doing more. I actually am working on more still. Give me just an absolute second, and we will get started. Oh, also, late Merry Christmas to everybody, since I kind of dropped the ball on that one. Should have posted something or said something to y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's right. We have Will here from the start. From the rip, off the hip. I don't know where else I was going to go with that, but we have Will here from the start. This is Will777JP. That is Will777JP if you need to identify him in a lineup or remember his name for your own safety. Will, how the heck are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm good. I'm as good as can be. Been just having fun the last few days with Christmas break. For us adults, we normally get like a 3 or 4 day weekend for some of us. So I just been chilling, man, playing games.
What games have you been playing?
So I've been playing. Glad you asked.
I
I
am
have been
too.
playing Halo Infinite. I beat Halo Reach with our buddy Nelson Gaming. I've also played about 2 minutes of I hate to say it, man. Yesterday, it's actually a really fun game. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Uh, I can't believe it's just a throwback game, and it's very very fun. Dante's Inferno. I never played it before, but it's great that they have that option on there, and that's all they really have. But so those are the only games I've been playing. But yeah, no, I've been having a great time. I got an Xbox for Christmas. I just really wanted to come from a different side, so when I talk shit about Xbox, I can be like, I know, because I am you. But yeah, those are the games. I'm working on my platinum for Last of Us Part 1 on PS5 as well. Shout out to Mooch, who sent me a DM today telling me how he completed his. Mooch already had the platinum for The Last of Us on PS4 for the remaster and PS3, but me and him are both working on the platinum, getting ready for The Last of Us Part 2, which is a game I don't like, but I love the mechanics. I love the gameplay. It's just the story to me is not well done. And I know that one of our listeners said I got poor taste in games because I said that during our last conversation last week. And it's also because we really crapped on Souls-like games. So a combination of Souls-like games that I don't like, and then saying The Last of Us 2 was ass. He really attacked me by saying I got shitty taste in games. But I am going to be playing it. Hopefully that $10 PS5 upgrade is true, because if it's not, then I won't be playing it. But if it is, I will chip in the $5 or the $10 since
I
I
mean,
am
they've
going to be
already
paying them.
announced it. I
Oh,
don't
they did, yeah, yeah.
suspect them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I'll be getting. I got a lot of gift card money for Christmas, so I got some money in my wallet, and I'll be happy, more than happy to spend it.
Um, Now there was a rumor going around um, that one of the games you got was one of the blockbuster titles for last year.
Absolutely, and it's
Um,
not a rumor; it is confirmed. So, my God bless her heart, man. So my grandmother, she
does she ever get on YouTube? Do you tell her that you're on a YouTube show? Are
no,
you about to break Grandma's
the
heart right now? Is that what's
my,
gonna happen?
more than likely, my grandma had to contact the neighbors, cousins, sisters, uncle, just to even get this online order, okay? So she has, I mean, her phone is literally just the numbers blown up to fill up the screen,
It's like
It's
one of
just
those
open.
jitterbugs.
Yeah, yeah, just like for old people where she just says one and it dials, me or my mom or something like that. But God bless her heart because she came up to me for Christmas and she didn't have the gift in hand, but she's and also I want to give her a big kudos too because my grandma calls the PlayStation, Xbox, anything as a Nintendo, right?
You damn
So
straight it
my
is.
whole life she's always gotten me the wrong game for whatever console I had. If I had a PS2, she got me a PS1 game. If I had a Nintendo, she got me an Xbox game. So I'm really, kudos to her. But she came up to me and she said, "Hey, I heard you got an Xbox for Christmas." And I was like, "Yeah, Grandma. Well, I got you this great game. My neighbor's son was telling me that the game just came out this year, and I couldn't believe it. It was only $10." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I already knew where she was going with this. I'm like, "Grandma, what game?" She's like, "It's better if I show you." Obviously, she didn't have it. It should be arriving this week, but she ended up getting me a physical copy of Redfall for the 9.99. And then Nelson says, "Dude, your grandma got." I was like, "Why?" Redfall's at $5 at GameStop. I was like, "Oh shit." I'm not gonna say shit to her because she will return that motherfucker and go to GameStop and get it for the $5. But shout out to Granny, man. She's doing what she can.
Ooh, all right. So Will's going to become a full Xbot, and then we'll finally have both sides of the story. He'll be the delusional Xbox fan, and I'll be the PlayStation guy.
Bit later, but man, I've just what I got it when Fridays when I opened it, and I've been gaming on it, on and off because I also got we got a MetaQuest 3 for Christmas, so I've been playing
Hell
that,
yeah.
and I've been playing my VR for the PS5, which I just
Guys,
beat.
is there an echo, like, from me when I talk? Because for some reason I'm hearing an echo, and now it's gone. Okay, that's weird. Sorry, Will. Go ahead. So you got a MetaQuest? That's pretty sick.
MetaQuest, yeah, MetaQuest 3. It's really nice. I do like the way the PSVR headset itself feels. It's lighter. It's way more comfortable. So I got a couple recommendation on some headset like adapter thingies that I can purchase, which I'll be checking into. But yeah, so I've been having my hands full with gaming, man. I just beat Call of the Mountain. I've been playing, or I beat that last week, but I've been playing Synapse on the PS5. Shout out to Nelson who told me about the mini golf gaming on VR. I purchased that for like $8. And I rebought it on the MetaQuest for same price so I can play with my son. And because Nelson has all the DLCs for that game, I don't have to purchase them as long as I play on his. So I'm excited for him to get his VR, which is coming this week, I think. And yeah, man. So a lot of gaming.
That's awesome, man. What's up, Jay? What's up, chat? What's up, Ryan? Michael? F YouTube? I love saying that name. I absolutely love it. Okay, so y'all heard that, right?
That was me, dude.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I was like,
You're not
man.
going crazy. You're
I was
not
like,
going
dude, now there's
crazy.
a freaking delay. What's going on?
No,
This
all
is
right.
not okay.
I
All
just
right,
left to
so
follow the chat over here.
real quick, just some housekeeping stuff. What's up, hero? Real quick, just some housekeeping, okay? Next week I am taking off. I have done I did a show last week, doing a show today. Next week I'm gonna take off, and so we won't be here next week. I'm hoping to use the extra time over the weekend. No, I didn't get a portal. I'll be hoping to use some of the time over this longer weekend with not as much holiday stuff going on to be able to get two of my videos put out. I have decided to split the Diablo 2 video into two parts. It's going to be one is going to be kind of a history of myself with the franchise as a whole, and then the actual hard full on review of Diablo 2. Um, nothing else feels right, so that's what I'm going to end up having to do with that. I've re-recorded the audio for the full review about 5 to 10 times now. I think 10 times now total, and so
Why
I
so
just have
many?
because I keep getting in the position where I'm either talking too much about my history with the game, or I'm talking not enough about it, and I don't feel like I'm doing it justice. And so, like, and I don't want to have a 30, 45-minute video. I just don't. And so it's just that. I don't want to. I don't want to have a 35, 40-minute long video, but I also don't want to leave out my history with the franchise because it. I feel like when reviewers or when YouTubers get into games, uh, or start reviewing games that they have an attachment to, like they need to let the audience know that. And just given my familial history with it, like it's a game that means it's a series rather that means a lot. And so I just want to be able to give all of it. And every time I try to do a video under the 25-minute mark, it feels rushed, it feels disjointed, and I just don't like it. So I'm going to redo it, and we're just going to do 2 videos. And so I'm hoping to get those out. It's just kind of a introspective for the first video, and then just a straight up review will be the second. Uh, anyways, actually, moving forward, it is the year end episode, guys. We are going to be discussing our favorite games from 2023. We will be discussing our favorite storylines from 2023, things that happened in gaming that just kind of made us go, whoa, oh my god, I can't believe we're actually here. Um, And what happened in chat? Hang on. Something bad happened to me while I was chatting on Discord with Josh. I lost the expensive sunshades my wife bought. Oh, that freaking sucks, dude. I'm sorry, Hero. That's awful. Yeah, Hero's on one tonight. Started off with a "What's up, fuckers?" Nice. Okay. We're just gonna be discussing a lot of that. We'll be talking about a few news topics tonight. Um, I want to talk about a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the mobile market and kind of what's going on. Some stuff happened today uh, that seems to have helped, but the mobile market took a bloodbath. $80 billion, I believe, no more than like 5 days ago. And so, really going to talk about that a little bit. But mainly, I just wanted to reflect on the year, what we liked about the year as gamers. Will and I, as many games, like the mobile gaming market, uh, like the App Store, Google Play, all that stuff. Sorry, Michael, I should have made that more clear. We are not going to be talking about Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. That's not what we're doing. But so oh my god. So Hero, you were doing a good thing and bad man, that sucks, dude. Just know that it all worked out. So don't stop doing good things. Just because bad stuff sometimes happens when you do them. Uh, and anyways, so just discussing this year, it was one of the best years in gaming that I can remember. Like I don't I don't say that lightly because I've had years where Final Fantasy VII Remake made a dream of mine as a kid a reality as an adult. Like we've said it before on these podcasts, we've you could have looked at me playing Final Fantasy VII back in 1996 and said that I'd be playing games that look as good as Ghost of Tsushima or Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake or Resident Evil or any of the games that we've gotten this year. And I would have looked at you and said, "You're ridiculous. You're crazy. The tech can never do it. We'll never get there." And we're getting these. So there's always gaming moments that we can go back to. And I think doing one episode a year where we just kind of reflect on gaming as a whole, uh, I think that's good. And it's going to be a little lighthearted. Last week, we kind of bashed Xbox over the head. This week, we're going to do it a little bit um, because I have been seeing some Xbox people on the cesspool that is X kind of championing these leaks, talking about how, haha, Insomniac got leaked, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to talk a little bit about the complete ridiculousness that is there celebrating. Um, because I don't think Yeah, y'all remember that thing from Princess Bride where he's like, I don't think that means what you think it means. Like, yes, they got hacked. Yes, that sucked. But the contents of that hack are not exactly what you think they are. It's not good news for you, I'll tell you that. If you're an Xbox fan, you should be worried. But we'll get into that a little bit if there's time. Really, let's start here at the top. Will, I told you I called an audible tonight. Didn't really have a chance to tell you what it was because I called it like 8:30, and so uh, off the top of your dome, what are your what's your favorite game of the year? I don't even want it to be the best game of the year. What is your favorite game of the year?
Uh, well, well, Thrifty. I actually compiled a top 10 list based on our conversation earlier today.
Okay.
But I can give you my top one, or we can go over the whole list. But I really thought about this because
Oh
a
shit, that's
lot
right.
of
I
the,
did text you that.
yeah,
My
dude,
bad.
your memory is like gone.
Dude, it's like
Um,
that of a goldfish, bro. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
I was about to say that. It's like, oh, wait, I just turned here. But when we talk about, these top lists and, like, especially a couple weeks ago with the Game Awards, we're going over the best games, and a lot of the times we're really discussing, like in general, like what are the best games in general, and, we I don't know about you guys, but when I think about that, I'm thinking more of, okay, what the reviewers are saying. I combine, sales numbers in there. I combine my personal taste. So, for example, like Baldur's Gate is obviously one of the best games of the year, right? I can say that because I played a little bit of it. The game is technically it's awesome. The storyline, it's just not my type of game, but I can still admit that it's one of the best games of the year, even though it's a game that I do not like, mainly because it's turn-based. But I did purchase it. I do plan on playing it because they did such a great job. Just like The Last of Us 2, that I don't really care for the story, but I do love the game because the mechanics are awesome. The game is polished and it feels good. But thinking over what my top games of the year are, um, it was really hard for me to pick because I have things on my list such as, the big AAA games like Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 16. Then I got more AA stuff like Remnant 2, and then I have super indie stuff like Dredge. So there's a combination of games in there. So I actually want to break it down in three categories.
Break it
The,
down
the
now.
the big triple A's, and I'm going to include double A's in there as well because double A's, especially with the which we'll get into later about their weight. They're using Unreal Engine 5, and it's giving the appearance of a lot more money invested in them than actually was, which is great for us, right? But my top of the year, or my number one that I just absolutely loved, and I'm going based off of how I felt, how involved with the community I was, and also the amount of gameplay. And that game would have to be Remnant 2. Remnant 2, I have over, I believe it's 120 hours into it. Secondly, that game I played with so many people. And mind you guys, last year, if I played co-op game a few times, it was more than I've ever had before in my life. This year, I quadrupled that. So I played with Thrifty, Nelson, Jerk Chicken, which he's not part of our podcast here, but another gamer that I met through Nelson, and a few others. RPG. I'm waiting on Warwana to hit me up once he needs to get carried by us. But that's my number one, and mainly it's because the gameplay was phenomenal. The story was actually decent. And the big reason is the involvement with the community. I really had a lot of fun playing with you guys. You guys gave it a shot. You took what we said as far as recommendation goes on the game, and I'm glad that a lot of you guys enjoyed it as well. My second top game, and this one is the indie, is going to be Dredge. Dredge is a phenomenal game. It is by a small indie team, and you're basically a fisherman, but you're fishing these weird monster type fish, and the story you kind of discover as you explore the seas. And it was very well made. Time flies while you're playing that game. It's awesome. The only reason I didn't put Power Wash Simulator on there is because it came out last year. Even though it became available on PlayStation this year, I had played it previously last year. And the
Well, now
last
according
game,
to the Game Pass model, that means the game didn't come out till this year.
yes,
Like if we were
exactly.
on Game Pass, the games don't actually release until they release on Game Pass.
Oh man, dude.
So
Later
like
on, if you
I
can,
think you could still count that considering you're an Xbox owner now. Like you
well,
got the Series X, you got the monster
I
eating
do,
machine.
I do. And actually, if you give me like 3 minutes later on, I actually want to talk about my experience on that a little bit. But my final category game is VR. My game of the year for VR was Horizon Call of the Mountain. Now that game, I am biased against it because I'm a huge Horizon fan. I love Horizon. I love Aloy. I love the story. But playing that VR game, you really felt like you were part of it, and I really wanted more. I mean, it took me about 7 hours to beat, and of course, I felt like it was not enough. But the game is just phenomenal, man. The combat was a lot of fun. The story was good. The thing that pissed me off the most is that you only see Aloy in the beginning of the game for about 45 seconds. That was my biggest gripe. But besides that, the game was flawless. It introduced me to the VR earlier in the year, which, doing a little reflecting here, the PSVR 2 and now the MetaQuest, these are the consoles or the gaming systems that I, as a kid, could couldn't even imagine what it was going to be like. You know, I had an idea of what I wanted it to be like, but to actually do it now as a 35-year-old grown ass man, it just takes me back to when I was like 6, 7 years old, just wishing and hoping that one day we had something like that. And now we do. So 2023, gaming wise, was such a great year. And those are my top three games of the year.
That's awesome, man. So I like that because my list is, and we'll get into some more because you said you have 10. So
Yeah, yeah, I do.
mine are here. Let me go get to somewhere that's pretty. Hang on. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now on the stream, and
Oh, can't wait for that. Can't wait for part two.
dude, if they want to remake or remaster something, give me this. Give me the Cloud Nimbus system from Horizon in this with the foliage and the uh, shoot the grass and the foliage engine that they have in this thing. Give me
Yeah,
that mixed with the cloud engine from Horizon, and I'm in heaven. Like
yeah,
the gameplay is already solid. Beef up because people still talk about how this game is absolutely gorgeous, and it 100% is.
it
Not
is.
taking anything away from the game, but going back to it after being away from it for so long, it does look a little older. Not old, but older. Like before people like want to like come at me and like kill me. It
I'm gonna
looks
come at you and kill you.
it looks a little older. It's not as polished. The cape doesn't his not the cape, but his
It's showing its age for sure.
yeah, it's showing a little bit of its age. It's like when like you realize that you yourself are like 35, 40 years old and you look in the
Dude,
mirror and you go, "Dang, I'm not old,
quick
but I'm
sidetrack.
but I'm starting
Speaking
to
of
show
old,
signs."
on Christmas Day, it was me and my family at my mom's house, and my sister puts on Home Alone, and us being adults, we're like, geez, I wonder how much money they're making and live in a house like that, and like, what do they do for a living? We're getting to that conversation, and then I turn around and I tell my sister, dude, you know that, damn, what's his name? Macaulay Culkin's mom in the movie, she's like 32 years old in here. She's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. So you think she looked old your whole life? Well, guess what age you are now? That's exactly how people view you, like as a 30-something-year-old. And it was just like like bam, it just hit us right in the head, like holy shit. So yes, so that's how exactly how Ghost, it doesn't look bad, of course, but I agree with you, Thrifty. It does look it looks 2020-ish.
Right, right, and it's just because of the massive improvements that we had. Like, so one of my games for the year that was so the best game of the year for me was Spider-Man 2. But my favorite game of the year was Hogwarts Legacy. Like, I absolutely dropped almost 100 hours in Hogwarts Legacy. Like, I freaking loved that game. I loved the story. I loved the combat. I loved the way that the combat literally was just, hey, you gotta you gotta develop muscle memory. It wasn't just smash square or smash triangle. It was like, okay, I have to set this up. I have 3 pages of spells. I need to set those 3 pages up. Once I set those 3 pages up, then I can go ahead and do this combo or do this set of things. Or if I'm going to explore, I'll use one of the pages as like my environment interaction. And there was so much depth to how the combat actually worked that it was absolutely insane, and I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, but like I said, the best game of the year was the game that gave me 1440p, 40 frames per second, ray tracing, a great story, awesome combat. It was absolutely Spider-Man 2. And then two of my top five are Final Fantasy 16 and Sea of Stars. I still haven't beat Sea of Stars, but it's just everything I want in a video game of that type. It's gorgeous, the colors are bright, the stories are good, the characters are engaging, the combat is fun. Like those games, those type of games in that 16-bit retro style, I absolutely loved those, but not every single one of them actually, lands properly.
I
A
knew Sea
lot
of
of them
Stars was
do.
gonna be your list somewhere.
Man, it is. It's a game that I couldn't stop. I couldn't shut up about the damn thing. Uh, and all I'm waiting for is the physical edition to come out in I think February, and I'll be getting that. It's $25, or it should be 25 to 30, and I'm going to try to get one of those. They said it's going to be like a limited run of it, so I don't know how quick I'll be able to get one, but I hope I can grab one because I really want that.
You should be able
Um,
to. Just keep an eye out because limited run, the way they'll do it is they will give you the date from when it's basically pre-order, and then when they hit a certain amount of whatever they were planning on manufacturing, then they'll cut it off, and then you'll get your game. Man, it could be 3, 4 months later. That's the only shitty part about limited run games, if that's who's making it.
no, 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 no. I don't think it's limited run. It's they are doing a limited release of the game.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jay, we're talking about Sea of Stars. It came out only digital, so I haven't actually bought the game yet because I played it
William,
on
you're too loud.
Plus. And so I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Another game that I enjoyed a ton. Here, let me get back over here into the field looking out into
William,
the.
you're too loud.
I love that, as a dad, you're saying he's too loud while you're yelling.
I could
I
have
do
sworn I
that.
muted it. My bad.
I know you're good, man. Um, give me a sec. I want to find this.
While you're doing that, another
Yeah,
game I really want to give a big shout out to, which is part of my list, is the RoboCop game. Awesome game. It's a double A game, so the expectations for that game weren't really there. But if you even have the
slightest.
slightest interest in RoboCop, please pick up this game. I think it's on sale right now at the PlayStation Store. Actually, I think it's like $30 or something like that. Highly recommend it. The shooting is so satisfying. You can shoot limbs off. I mean, it's just awesome. You really feel like a RoboCop.
Really feel like a RoboCop. That yeah. So there's a few people who I watch who absolutely said that they nailed that entire game from start to finish. Like,
Dude, they did.
um, oh, did that come out? It did. So the problem is too is because I'm a thrifty gamer, I sometimes play games for the first time 4 years after release. So some of the games on my list, I'm having to double check before I open my mouth and tell y'all like this is a game that I really liked or what have you. Because I swear to you, I could have swore that Sonic Frontiers released this year, but I think that was last year.
That was last year, man.
But I didn't play it till this year because I got it on sale.
Dude, I was like that. I was
See,
like
that's what I'm
that last
like.
couple of years too, man. You know, mind you, I was your casual freaking MLB The Show and Call of Duty gamer up until like 2021. So I experienced a lot of stuff that I'm like excited to talk to people about, and they're like, "Yeah, that game is like so 2010, dude." I'm like, "Geez, my bad, dude. Fuck, I just played it. You know, I'm
Well, F
sorry."
off. F
Yeah,
off,
dude.
my guy.
Like I won't ever bring it up again. Okay, I get it. It's old.
So, funny enough, that's hilarious. So this year, my most played games, uh, none of them came. Oh well, let me rephrase that. Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Sea of Stars all came out this year. My other most played games are Final Fantasy X 2, or no, sorry, Final Fantasy X. Sorry, I was reading the combo. Star Ocean First Departure R, Horizon Forbidden West, which, mind you, about 25 hours of that to 30 hours of that is from the live streams. So I'm not I really don't keep track of that one anymore. Diablo 2 Resurrected, and then I had quite a bit of time in the Ascent, and so I got to play this year. Oh, that's it. That's the other one. That's my fifth. My fifth for the year is Forspoken. Out of the new games that I played this year, Forspoken took forever to actually make it a proper game. But now the game looks great, it runs great. Thrifty Gerbler? I don't really know what that means. Outsider, you're going to have to help me with that because I don't know what you mean. I don't know if that's a funny haha or if you're making a slide at me. Either way, Gerbler is just a funny word. I do the same. I buy and play most games a year after release date. Yeah, no shit, me too. I saw RoboCop in the movies when it first came out. I was a little too young for that. I missed that by just a little bit. Peter Weller's still alive. Yes. Thrifty Gamer. Yes, he is. Okay. So those are. Oh! Did Remnant come out this year?
Yes, it did. It came out
Ooh, yep.
either right before Final Fantasy 16 or right after.
That's
One
on
of the
my
two.
list. I've never wanted to break a controller and keep playing a game as much as Remnant 2. Like, that game infuriates the shit out of me, so I can only play it when I'm really in the mood for it. You know, I was listening to I think I caught like 30 minutes of Lono's show today, and I was just listening to it, and I heard him talk about Dark Souls games or Souls likes, and he was like, "Man, you got to be in the mood for those. You got to be in the mood to want a like teaching experience and a learning experience." And I feel that because like with Remnant, it's kind of a Souls like with shooting with guns, and it's very much I need to be in the mood to play games like that or games like Returnal where it's just going to be hard. And that's how you learn and that's how you get better and that's how you progress. And it doesn't mean that they're crappy games. It just means that I need to be in the mindset. Like right now at night, one of my favorite things that has happened this year. is in gaming with the hype of the Portal and my desire to have one and not have one yet. Uh, it's very much. I had a Razer. I think it's like a VZ or VK1. It's the like first original like strap the thing to your phone and use remote play or play JRPGs on your phone that support have controller support or whatever. You can actually play Diablo Immortal with it. Um, but I bought the thing like 2 years ago for $50 from a used game store here, and I used it a little bit when I first got it, and then it kind of fell by the wayside. Well, now I've actually really started enjoying going to bed 10:30, and I'll play 30 minutes of Ease 9 right now, and I'll play, I'll do a mission, I'll progress the story a little bit, I'll hop back off of it, set it down with my old phone, still attached to it next to the bed, and I've really enjoyed playing in my bed again. Because when I was a kid, I literally used to like lay on my side, hold my arms out as far as they could go with the Nintendo as far as it could get to me, so I could play my Nintendo in bed laying down. And it's I did that with the Super Nintendo, did it with the PlayStation, did it with the PS2, and then when wireless controllers came out, I was absolutely freaking so stoked, so excited because and it gave you the ability to turn off your system without getting out of bed. It was so awesome. But like playing handheld in that sounds really bad. Playing handheld in the bed is really a nice way to enjoy gaming for me. So that's one thing that like has really just stepped up a ton, especially over the past few weeks. But Will, I kind of jumped a little bit. What's your fifth game of the year?
But
That's
just to
fine.
guys
What's your
do
next?
my next. Well, here I'm just gonna spew out the other ones because it's just a little bit complicated. And just so you know, guys, I keep a list on my phone. I have a Android, so I have a note on there, like a notepad, where I just keep track. So essentially, what I do is I write the game that I'm playing, the date that I beat it, and how many hours it took me. So just to give you an example, Metro
Nerd.
2033 Redux. I beat January 8th. It took me 12 hours. Game after that was Metro Last Light, January 9th, 10 hours, etc., etc., etc. So I'm just going through my list here real quick, and I just want to give a couple shout outs to these games, which, by the way, Resident Evil made that list. Um, uh, Jedi Survivor is also on that list. I already said RoboCop. Dead Island 2 is another one that's on that list. And I'm really surprised that not a lot of people on my friends list don't have that game. I know Jess has it, but Jess he stopped playing it a while ago, or I see him play it once in a while, but like I'm in the middle of something else, so it's hard for me to kind of catch him to play with him. But that's another one. Going into the smaller games, Bramble, King of the Mountain. That's another game that I really loved. I highly recommend that game. It's like old folktale stories from like Eastern Europe, but they do it in like a new kind of way, and it's just a phenomenal game. Another game that I highly recommend is Under the Waves. Now, this is made by the same people that made Detroit Become Human. You're basically like an underwater like scientist slash worker guy, and you're in a submarine, and you gotta do some things. And there's a really nice story that is both like environmentally, the consequences of our actions in the ocean, and also exploration. It's just phenomenal in that game. And then another game that did not come out this year, did not, but it got perfected this year, is Cyberpunk. That is my number one played game this year with the DLC. I have over 150 hours into it. This year alone, I played it 3 times. Guys, this is probably one of the best games ever made. Now, you guys who haven't played it might look at me a little crazy. The ones that did play it can understand where I'm coming from. And then uh, an honorable mention in this is Diablo 4. Diablo 4, I beat November 12th. I put 50 hours into it because I just played the story. I think the combat is very, very fun. The map is huge, but it's not boring. There's lots to do. Of course, when you include the live service aspect of it with the seasons, there's way more to do in there. Warwana can understand where I'm coming from. He platinumed the game, which to me is amazing because you gotta hit level 50 on like 3 or 4 different, what do you call those thrifty? The rogues and the barbarians,
The classes.
the classes. You gotta hit level 50 on a few of those, and that you have to put in work for that. So shout out to Warwana, and because of him, I beat the game. But for example, a game that I beat this year that didn't come out this year that I think was very, very, very good. Um, and I've been playing with actually Nelson. We just beat it this week. Aliens is one of the games on PS Plus. Now, I'm not saying it's good because the game is a masterpiece, but it's just fun, especially when you're playing with friends. I mean, me and Nelson were having the time of our lives, and we're just laughing our ass off. He fuck up or I fuck up, and these face huggers and these aliens. And the best part about it is we ended up buying the aliens
Like the DLC pack?
no, no, the DVD or Blu-ray collection on Amazon on sale for like $18 or $20, and we got all the movies. So it was just great to compare the movies to the game. I know it didn't come out this year, but it's a game that we just had a blast with, man. And I can keep talking about games. This year, I fell shy of my goal from last year. Last year, I beat 70 games. My goal this year was to beat 80. I didn't achieve that. I only did about 40, 45 games, but I did play 2,100 hours this year versus last year I only put in 1,700 hours. So my gaming time has went up versus year over year. I don't know how the hell I put in that many hours. I mean, I have a full-time job. I'm a managerial position, so I travel for work and I work long hours. I'm a father. I put that as priority, so I'm always with my kid and homework and all that stuff. But if you really want to get gaming, if you really, it's a passion of yours, you will find the time. And just like Thrifty Man, even with my phone, I do sometimes lay in bed and I will just play a game. And you do that 30 minutes here and there, like at lunch, or sometimes if I got 15, 20 minutes, I'll put on and I'll play something like Sea of Stars, which is a great game for like handheld. I beat, what's that game called? What Remains of Edith
Edith
Funch or
Finch.
Finch. I
Finch, yeah.
beat that game on mobile, which is a very cool story. The game's just a couple hours long, but it's definitely possible, man. If you just try to, whenever you have a little bit of time, and that's the great thing about a PlayStation and modern consoles is you have. That's another thing that we're reminiscing on. When I was a kid, I used to just dream of playing my game, and my mom's like, "Hey, we gotta go to a grocery store," and you get in the car. I always wish for a time where I can pause the game, get in my mom's car, pull out my Game Boy, continue the game. We get to the grocery store, put it away, get done, get back in the car, play the Game Boy, get back home, continue the game. So that 15, 20 minute drive time, there to the store, and then the 15, 20 minutes back, you have an hour. You could have completed a couple levels during that time. And we live in a moment where that's a possibility. Now, sure, it may not be the what we like, the 1440 or 4K 30 or 60 or whatever, but it's still a way to distract yourself for a little bit, have a little bit of fun on the downtime. You're waiting at the doctor's office. It's great to pull these things out. So I know that I was rambling there for a minute, guys, but I just want to show you that gaming is so much fun, especially as the time goes on. And the biggest thing that excites me about 2023 ending is that we are now at the basically the halfway point of the PS5, right? Almost there. If not, we're shy of it or we are slightly over it. But the point is, how much better are these developers going to get now that they hit their stride? Now that we're going on the 4 year mark of the PS3, You know, how much better are these games going to look when they can maximize the power of the system? You know, I was looking at the trailer for The Last of Us Part 1 for the PS3 earlier today at work, and it honestly it shocked me on how well it looked back in 2000 and I forget what year it was, 2010 or something like that. Like it just blew my mind that on the PS3 it looked that freaking good. And then I saw the trailer for the remaster, and I'm like, wow, this looks even better. And right now, I'm currently going on a platinum run on the part one for the PS5 version, and the game just looks. I mean, it just blows my mind. And as you guys are aware, I'm a I'm a graphics guy. I love graphics. I'll put a game on 30 and play it that way the first go around. Unless it's real stuttery, then I'll switch it to 60 and take the hit graphically. But a lot of these developers, man, especially PlayStation, gives you that 40 option, so you can still get the graphics, you can still get it at 40 FPS, and the game runs phenomenally. And I love Horizon for that reason, because it was my first game in this new generation where I can put it at 40 and still get the benefits of the high graphics. And then the DLC came out, which is another one that came out this year, and I didn't put it in my list because it is a DLC. But man, if we're counting DLCs, that's in my top three. I'll shut up now, Thrifty.
The Ragnarok, yeah. Nah, man, no need to shut up, man. These are our experiences. These are our games that we've played. Like, you know, one good thing about the end of the year is you get to look forward to next year. And I already have games that are on my list for next year. Jedi Survivor is on my list for next year. I played the first one when it was like $20. I'm going to play the second one when it's $20. Uh, Not because I think the series isn't worth the full price, just because I don't buy full price games. And Diablo, it's getting close. Diablo 4, I think the lowest I saw it was like $30. And I want that to get down a little bit more. And right now the deluxe edition's on sale for like 45, but I don't really want the deluxe edition. I just want the game. And so I'm still holding out on that. But there's so many games that have come out and that are coming out that we are in a position as gamers just to be super. We have nothing to really gripe about. Like, we gripe because we don't know what games are coming out while we're standing in line to get the newest game that's coming out. Like, it's just a fact. Like, we'll be sitting there playing Final Fantasy 16 going, "Man, I wonder why they haven't told us anything about the next this or that." Like, you you're you can only play one game at a time. Like, I don't care how skilled you are, you can only have one game on your screen at a time. And so we are constantly being fed, and we're being fed very well. And 2023 was no exception. Like, there were games, Hogwarts Legacy actually bumped another game out. And so, like, this year made me choose. Spider Man 2 almost got bumped for Gate came out. I was like, dude, this looks so good. This looks so good. And of course, I held off and didn't get it. And then y'all all know what happened with Spider-Man. But those type of games that make people sit there and go, well, dang, all right, what do I get? I got $75. I can get this or I can get this. And you know you're going to have a wonderful time with either one of them. Those are that didn't happen to me as a kid. Like, I remember going and looking at GameStop or looking at Funko Land, if anybody remembers those places. Like, going to Funko Land and going inside and being like, all right, so what games came out this month? All right, well, there's nothing. What game's coming out next month? Oh, okay, cool. Or I'd get Game Informer and I would flip the pages open and I'd always go to the preview section or what games have come out where they did their review scores. And I would look and go, okay, yeah, no, that game I don't want, that game I don't like, that game's getting a 9, but it's a first person. I'm not a huge fan of those, or whatever, right? Like, those type of that's the way it felt for me back then, was like every few months you'd have an amazing game that came out, and then the other ones I'd wait until I could rent them from Blockbuster or rent them from my local Video Tan Express, or something like that, just because I wanted to finally try it. But now we're getting games on like there is a game coming out every month of next year that makes me want to buy it. Day one full price makes me want it. And so like we're in a position where we can
Shit,
look
the
at
first quarter of the year is
the
looking real freaking heavy.
there's about 5 games in the first quarter that I'm like, dang, I want
Yeah.
Tekken, I want Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, I want Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I want Helldivers 2, and
I
there's
want Prince
one
of
more.
Persia.
Prince of Persia, there it is. That's, all I'm sitting, the first quarter's looking expensive. That's right. Um, so, because of where my son's room is in the house and my voice carries all the way down the hallway, I can't tell y'all what I'm getting him for his birthday, but um, it's a game that recently came out, and I'm super super excited about watching him dive into it. I really really am. Actually, I
When did
can
it
tell
come
y'all.
out? Give me a date.
Hang on, I can tell y'all in the chat.
Yeah.
Let
Oh,
me type this.
speaking of reading magazines and stuff, I just purchased my very first. Thank you guys. No need for applause. My very first Xbox physical copy. I mean, it's an Xbox One game. I got it on Amazon for like $3, but you know, I got to start somewhere. And it's Shadow of Mordor. And the reason I'm talking about it because
Why?
when I opened the game,
Hmm.
because one, I never played it, but two, it was $3. And but when I opened it, first off, the Xbox physical stuff is really trippy because the disc is on the left side, not the right side. Even the Switch has it on the bottom right. Like, dude, okay, you're already starting off on the left side, on the wrong side of things, right?
Do they
But
really
I
put it on
will,
the left?
yeah, dude, it's on the left.
It's not just
Um,
somebody like has it inverted on accident?
no, because the whole disc, you know, a little center button that you push to release the disc is
Yeah.
on the left. It's not on the right. And even if I flip it, it's dude, I I know, do I have a big collection? I know what it looks like.
That's so weird.
But when I open it, it has a little booklet on the right side, and it has Shadow of Mordor, and it's got the picture of the guy with the sword. It looks great. It's all it is just like a user's license agreement. But when you open it, the very next page, you have another picture, it's black and white, and then you flip it as a user license agreement, and the very last page, of course, is a two-sided page freaking picture of the left hand, he's holding a cut off head, and the right side, his sword. But it doesn't have the information like how it was when we were kids, but just looking at that really took me back and it really excited me. Nowadays, you just open the game and it's just a disc in there, and then maybe they'll have a promotional flyer on the left hand side, you know, or that really stopped it during the PS4 era. But you sometimes will get that on the smaller companies. If you have DLC, that's where you'll see your DLC code. You know, if they have some sort of like day one, you know, skin or whatever. But yeah, it just took me back. And then Thrifty talked about Blockbuster and like guys, we have come so far, man. You know, going to Blockbuster like Friday night, the video game rental, you know, wasn't like a movie. It wasn't like 1 day or 2 day rental. It was like a 3 day rental, and then it was like $5 versus the movies would be like 199 or 299 for new releases. Um, but man, it's just a whole new era, and the more that I think about it, the more I miss it. And not for nostalgic reasons, which is part of that, but also ownership reasons. You know, because nowadays I feel like even though I own more games than I've ever had in my life, I feel like I own less of them, if that makes sense. I feel like the control isn't quite there. Now, this takes me back to when PlayStation 4 and Xbox One did their whole E3 thing. And, you know, Xbox, of course, shot themselves in the foot by saying that you couldn't play, you know, used games and all that stuff. And PlayStation came out with that video. It was like, this is how you share used games. And he just, you know, handed the game off to the other dude, just like clowning them for being stupid asses. But you know, it just takes me back to that, man. And we're getting older, and we're reflecting on the games in our lives here. But it was just such a beautiful for a lot of us growing up. I mean, it's what's so impactful, guys, that look at us. We're all adults here. A lot of us have kids and family, and we're taking time on a Wednesday night to shoot the shit with each other about video games and what we've been
Literally
playing.
just shooting the shit tonight.
Like crazy.
Like, that's all we're doing. We are talking about the year. We're talking about the nostalgia. We're talking about the things that we liked, the games that we liked, the games that brought us together, the games that didn't bring
Together.
us together. Yes, the games that didn't bring us together. Oh, I'm gonna get my butt kicked because I don't remember how to fight in this. Yep. Anyways, so we're just gonna go back to the title screen because that I don't remember how to fight in this. I have 100 hours in this, or 90. No, yeah, I have like 90 something hours in this game, and I really don't remember how to fight. Uh, I just did a different background outside of Aloy's. Anyways, so
Hey, if you want, you can put my gameplay up of Power Wash Simulator, dude. I got over 80 hours on that thing. Just
n-
saying.
not no no.
Oh, I'm
That's
very proud of this. Power Wash Simulator, I own for PS5. I own it for the Xbox. And I also own it for the MetaQuest 3. First game I ever owned in multiple consoles like that. It's Gotti. I'm telling you, Gotti.
so Outsider Gaming Night, you just reminded me of something. There is a game that is on sale right now. Let me find it real quick. It's a game that I was finding, the $5 bargain bin online, because that's where I shop. Um, and I'm actually about to get it. It's called Katana Kami: A Way of the Samurai Story. It is a top-down isometric uh, dungeon crawler hack and slash game. So right up my freaking alley. And the art style looks very anime mixed with like almost like a torchlight, an anime mixed with a torchlight. And so it's $5.99 right now, and it's Katana Kami. This is not an endorsement of how the game is going to play. I haven't played it yet, but uh, it's uh, it's something that I'm definitely going to be getting here. And the sale ends on the 18th. So it's actually one of the sales in the year-end sale that's going the entire length of the sale. So if you can't get it this week, get it next week, what have you. Um, I beat Ghost of Tsushima and played a new game plus every year. Uh, dude, I still can't. That's the problem with Ghost of Tsushima is if you take a long break from it, it's going to take you a hot minute to remember the controls. Uh, because it's another one of those that's like muscle memory. You have to remember when to block, when to get out of the way, when to attack, when to counter, when to use your specials, when is it best to use or which stance is best when. Like games like that make you actually like have a what am I trying to say? Games that make you actually think and have a strategy without being super difficult kind of bothers me. Like, not bothers me. Those are the kind of games I like to play. The other type of games bother me. Um, what are y'all saying in the chat? Let's see. Beat Ghost of Tsushima. I'm at 24 hours in on Power Wash, and I'm sick of it. I made it about 10 hours, maybe 5, until I was like, yeah, I can't do this. It was fun writing my name on things, though. That was kind of cool. It was like a kid peeing in the snow, just writing your
Thrifty,
name
I
wherever.
missed it. Did you say what game you were getting for your son?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I did in the chat.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Here you go. I'll say it again. Um, but the game I'm getting for myself because I have $5 on PlayStation credit, it's only going to cost me $1.04. Is Katana Kami: A Way of the Samurai? It's by Spike Chunsoft Inc., which never heard of them before a day in my life. But I was looking in the $5 and or the 199 to 999 section of the sale this month, and I saw that and I was like, wow, that actually looks really good. And so I'm actually pretty excited about it. All it took was I scrolled through the photos and I got to the third photo, and it shows the like the slashing mechanic and the way the artwork looks when they get damage dealt to them, and you get these little Asian symbols that come up above their heads and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's really cool. And so Josh said, I'm gonna buy it. That's awesome. He said Spike Chun did Danganronpa. Hmm. Oh, never heard of that.
And trust me,
Nelson, yeah, go ahead.
that game for the present, my son has beat it 3 times since it came out. Just to kind of, and my son doesn't really beat games. I mean, he plays them and he's like, okay, whatever. This one he beat 3 times, dude. So that's impressive to me. I think your son is gonna love it. And actually, this game is part of my list of best games of the year.
See, that's awesome. This will actually be the first since we got it. So what happened was is we got him the dang thing, the whole system last Christmas, and he really didn't play it much because he couldn't read really well. And so like a lot of games on that don't have voice work. And so he has really pushed himself over the last year and a half to really work on his reading. And so now he's able to read, he's reading better, he's able to like piece things together and all that. And so he's playing um, he'll play Genshin Impact on the PS5, which thankfully it was not my most played game last year, which it very well could have been because of how many hours he put into that. Thankfully, I had more hours in Hogwarts Legacy than he had put into Genshin Impact because I would have felt bad as a gamer if Genshin Impact was my most played game, especially when I probably played 20 minutes of it. But he stopped playing the Switch, and as he learned how to read better, he started getting back into gaming. And so like it was, and then he started asking. Shortly before Christmas, he started asking for more games for it, and so like you know, my wife and I are sitting here going, well, dang, we already have all their Christmas stuff picked out. It's done, it's shipped, it's on the way. Like, and good thing about the well, good and bad. My son's birthday is just during the first part of January, so like we usually do one theme for Christmas and one theme for his birthday, and so super excited. I think he's gonna really enjoy it. Uh, it'll be something that Dad will actually enjoy playing with him, and so yeah, I'm super excited about that. But yeah, that's another game that came out. You got that. You had uh, Tears of the Kingdom coming out. You had um, oh geez,
Pikmin.
Pikmin, Resident Evil 4. Um, they got Hogwarts Legacy to run on the Nintendo Switch.
They
I don't
did.
give a crap that it looks like dog water. They got the damn thing to run on a Nintendo Switch.
Dude, when you want to play a game bad, you don't, and it's coming to your console, you don't give a shit what it looks like. You just want to get your hands on it. So, kudos to them because, I mean, they sold 1 million copies off the rip. I mean, it took it back to the top 10 when it re-released for the
Isn't
for the
that
Switch.
crazy?
Man, no, but that's awesome. Like we talked about it last week with the Souls-like games, where I was like, Souls-like games are ass, but it doesn't mean that I want them to stop existing. I want more of what people like, and guess what? The genre is growing. These games are doing really good. Look at Lies of Peace is another game that came out this year. It did phenomenal, even though it was on Game Pass. The Xbox numbers weren't properly aligned with what the rest of the industry was doing, i.e., PlayStation. But it did really good, and guys are really loving that game. So yeah, man, it's just been a phenomenal year with games.
So, we've talked a lot about the gaming side of it, which is good because that's the side that actually matters. But let's get into some of the BS. What are some of your favorites? What do you have a favorite story or topic from the year? Do you want a second to think about it? Because I got one off the top of my head. Uh, So if you need a second, you can.
No, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So my I have two favorite stories of the year, and neither one of them directly involve PlayStation. And it's because of what was going on during those times. JP Loco, I have played Nino Kuni 2. I have not finished that game. And the other game I have never even heard of. So I may have to check that one out. But with with the stories, it was because of how much content they gave us. So the first one was Redfall. That game gave us so much content and pulled back so much of the layers of the gaming mindset at Xbox that it really showed a lot as to where their heads are, where their focus is, and what they're willing to do to push out games every quarter. And so this year in my and then the next one was uh the release of Starfield. Uh Kind of for the same reason, but it really showed that this year was damn near just a victory lap for PlayStation and Nintendo. Like, look at all the cool shit that we can do, and look at all the crap that you can't do. You wish you were as good as us. Like, that's what this year felt like to me. It felt like, you know, last year, let's say this, last year and this year have both felt like PlayStation is kind of untouchable when it comes to gaming and quality and consistency of game releases. Like, it feels like we had 2 years of nothing but victory laps. And so those are two of my favorite moments from the year. Literally watching Jez literally stop a vampire by standing on the other side of a fucking table. Like, that is pure gaming comedy. He was literally on the other side of the table, and the vampire's AI was so bad that it wouldn't come. Yeah, the picnic table. It wouldn't even try to come over. It just couldn't. It couldn't think of that. But he played it wrong. Right, right. I remember when um, True Virgil came on. I was like, it's because you played it wrong. How, do, how do you stand in a spot wrong where there's an open field behind you and a picnic table in front of you, and the stupid vampire can't get to you? Uh, the other part was when King Thrash did his video and Supernova did their video or did his video over Starfield and landing on gas giants. Those two videos will literally have you rolling from start to finish. Um, and so, like, just those moments, I'll never forget those this year. Uh, and then I'm gonna give a third real quick. Then outside of those, I'll never forget what it felt like when, and this was kind of a bad one, but I'll never forget what it felt like when I got to the ending of Final Fantasy 16 and I felt completely, utterly let down by the game. Because up to that point, I was championing it, I loved it, and once I got to the end of that game, I was so let down by the way they ended it that you're just feeling it wrong. That's right. That's right.
That's true.
I'm just feeling it wrong. Yes, that's it, Josh. That's absolutely true. Um,
Well, let me
but
ask you this: what
no.
did you expect was going to happen?
So,
And real quick, just a minute.
well, here's the deal. There's people in here who might not have played it yet, but I expected the ending to be the exact opposite of what it was.
Oh, you live
And
in fantasy land.
the game's called Final Fantasy. Where am I supposed to
Exactly.
live?
The Final Fantasy.
Yeah, no. It's they've anyways, if y'all want my full opinion on the ending of the game, you can go back and watch either part 1 of the live stream that was done reviewing Final Fantasy or part 2. I give it in both of them. And so you can go watch those, but both of those, that moment was really, it really stuck with me. And I remember going in, and I talked about it on the channel, going into like a gaming depression after Final Fantasy 16, where I was like, man, I don't really want to play anything. Like, it literally took the wind out of my sails, and not for the same reason Spider Man did. Like, Spider Man 2, I got to the end, and I wasn't a huge fan of how they ended Spider Man 2, but I was a huge fan of the entirety of the rest of the game, and the ending wasn't so jarring that it was like, oh, that takes away from the game for me. And so those moments, though, when you see the credits roll, you get these games, and they're these wonderful experiences. Uh, you know, I remember rolling up to Hogwarts for the first time and just being in awe in how the outside of it looked, and then going inside the school grounds, and it looks just like the movies. It's like it's the movie come to life. And man, we've had so many moments like that this year. We had Digital Foundry looking at hair follicles in Resident Evil, talking about the new hair system that was implemented. We have people looking at clouds, dissecting how the clouds actually move according to an algorithm when you fly through it, how they're actually shaping and moving around you in real time. It's not an animation. It's actually its own physics. Like, I don't think I don't think as gamers we realize a lot of times just how wonderful and great we have it. Give me, hey Will, so what you got, man?
I have three as well. Three things that stuck out for me this year, and then I got a that people were just attacking each other for. When Chris Pratt got announced as the voice of Mario for the Mario movie, um, Thrifty, you still there?
Yeah, I'm sending you a message right now, but you can go ahead
It's
and talk
echoing
for
a
a
little
bit.
bit.
I have to go check on my son. He's coughing pretty bad, so my wife and I
That's
are gonna
cool.
go
I
check
got
on
it.
him real quick.
Just block the thing because I'm echoing a little bit.
I got you.
And people were just going crazy, like, "Oh, Chris Pratt, like he can't, he can't do it. He's not Mario." And bam, and it ended up being a very, very good Mario movie. It really sparked up a lot of interest in Mario, and perfect timing because Mario Wonders came out last month, and I was just laughing the whole time because I really didn't care. I'm like, if Nintendo thinks Chris Pratt can do it, then we'll see. If he flops, he flops. But I just remember that moment because when the movie first came out, I was excited to see it. Once the trailer came out and we heard a little bit of Chris Pratt doing his Mario voice, I was like, it's good enough for me. My second is literally, I don't remember who wrote the article. It could have been IGN, but please don't quote me on that. And the quote or the title of the article was "Money Can't Buy You Love." And I remember that because it's a great title. Money can't buy you love. We all talk about that in our daily lives with friends, family, whatever. But the article was about the Activision deal, and they were basically saying how, yeah, you guys spent $80 billion on this, but you still didn't do anything with it. Like, yeah, you spent all this money, you got all these developers, you got all these companies, but what? Where are the games? And Activision took so much of our time, not just this year, but last year as well. It took almost 2 years for this deal to finally finish up. Hopefully, they really don't shit the bed. But based on my 4 days experience with Xbox Series S and or X and Game Pass, I really think they're gonna shit the bed. And plus, I'm going based off 20, some years of Xbox experience that they're gonna shit the bed. That's my second one. My third one is the whole argument with PSVR 2. PSVR 2 was attacked left and right at the beginning of the year. People were saying how overpriced it was. People were clowning on PlayStation and trying to compare it to the PSVR 1 and how that didn't work out and just, typical Sony hate. And then it dropped. And then we get gameplay on games like Horizon Call of the Mountain. Then we start to get a much clearer picture of the games that are coming to the PSVR 2, and people are now starting to get excited. The console, I think, sold, or the accessory, I should say, sold, I believe it was like 700,000 in the first 6 weeks, which outpaced the PSVR 1, and PlayStation is definitely in a good spot with it. I'm definitely liking the fact that they're advertising it more because I really recommend it. I hope that in 2024 they drop the price a little bit. I think at a 350, $400 mark is a very good price point for the system. It definitely shouldn't go under the 350 mark because the technology is amazing. I'm comparing it to what I've played with a MetaQuest 3 so far, and the PSVR 2, man, it's holding its own, man. It really is. Now, of course, it has the PS5 system, doing the heavy lifting, but the things that are important in VR, such as wearing the damn thing yourself, right? PlayStation has that crushed. The controllers, PlayStation is killing it with the DualSense design on the PSVR 2. So those are two major factors that are killing the MetaQuest. In all reality, the only thing, or there's a couple things in my opinion, and once again, this may change because I've only been using it for a few hours, but it's the fact that it it's the real life mix, the in-game mix and real life mix of the games, which is unique. And also you don't have anything attached to it. But even though you don't have anything attached to it physically, you still have plenty attached to it digitally. Meaning that, yeah, the PlayStation may have the USB-C connected to the PS5, but the MetaQuest 3 is the same exact thing because you step out of bounds, you walk out the room, you have to redo the whole thing over again. You have to rescan your room, you have to set your boundaries all over again. The PS5 or the PSVR cable, the USB-C, it's a very long cable. Not once did I feel like it was in my way. It actually covers the whole. I have it set up in my living room, and I can go from end to end without feeling like it's like if I'm tied to something. But so that was my second or my third big story of the year is a PSVR 2 and how they try to count it out basically, and it's doing very well. And then my fourth honorable mention is all the jobs that were lost in the gaming industry this year. Now, this one is sad, it's somber, but that one really affects me because I love games, you all love games, and it's just a shitty situation when these companies, which by the way are a lot of them are the most profitable they've ever been, but yet they're letting people go because they want to boost the numbers up. Sure, some of them did a lot of overhiring in 2020, but we are now starting to get into the cycle where companies are doing a ton of hiring. They're going on a 10-year cycle, or some of them are 7-year cycle, where the people they hire on year one will eventually get let go by year 7 or 10, so they can restart that cycle over again. And now they have less job openings because they're giving more responsibility to their employers or their employees while paying them slightly less. So therefore, they're artificially boosting their profits every single year by going through that. And of course, the biggest culprits were Microsoft and Amazon, but I'm more worried about the gaming world, and Microsoft was the biggest one. And that's my fourth honorable mention of the year is all the jobs that were lost, and most recently with Bungie, and it's just poor leadership, poor management, and like I said, these developers are making more money than they've ever made before. Yes, they're spending more as well, but they're not hurting. It's just the way that they're managing their companies is putting them in really tough situations. They keep putting products out that were, I remember back in 2015, 2016, they kept saying single player was done. It was no more. It's not profitable. It's nobody wants it anymore. It's all live service, right? It's all co-op and multiplayer. And look how the tables have turned. There is a foundation to everything, guys. In our houses, we have foundations, and then you build from there. In relationships, we have foundations, right? We have commonalities, things that are our belief system. In gaming, there is foundations as well, and that is the single player experience. What you do after that, it's okay, but you have to have the foundation. Otherwise, you're gonna look at yourself trying to hit that diamond every single time, like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty, and it's just not gonna happen. You really have to put in the work. So I think that going forward, the gaming industry needs to stop listening to these um, journalists, gaming journalists, so called, and really focus on the gamers and what we're saying. Because getting ready for this conversation today about the top 10 games of the year and the top games of the year, almost every single person or gaming journalist that I listened to or read put Alan Wake at number one. And we saw it during the Video Game Awards. Oh, they all put it at number one, hence why it won so many awards, almost won Game of the Year. To me, that game is a top five game of the year. And not because I'm an Alan Wake hater or anything, I actually enjoyed the game. I went in there thinking it was going to be ass, but I ended up playing it and it wasn't that bad. But it didn't push the needle forward. It was more of Alan Wake 1. It was more of the previous game they did. I can't think of the name right now.
Control.
Starts with a C. Control. With big, big inspiration from Resident Evil. So I don't, but it's what the gaming journalists like, man. They're like these artsy freaking things that they love and they really cherish, just like the Last of Us TV show. Their favorite episodes were the ones that the fans hated the most. We're constantly butting heads with these people, and I think if the developers listen more to the gamers like us on what we want, which is a single player experience. Oh, and funny thing about this single player experience, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, I was playing Master Chief Collection and I beat Halo Reach with Nelson. Nelson never beat it before. He beat everything else. And we're watching the beginning, and he's like, "Is this the movie game that Xbox talk about that they hate so much?" And I'm like, "That's the movie game Xbox talk about that they hate so much." And we just realized, well, we didn't realize, so we know this, we talk about it all the time, but it just kind of hit home a little bit how they hate movie games because they're on PlayStation and they're successful. When it's on their console, look at all the Gears, look at all the Halos, the most impactful games that Xbox have, they're movie games, quote unquote. They just haven't had any recently, so therefore they're the devil, right? But those are, I don't want to keep going bashing on Xbox, but those are my four. Quick recap. The Mario voice actor thing was a hoot for me. I was having a blast with that because people were just attacking each other for no damn reason. Like
Oh
Chris
shit! Yeah,
Pratt
we had
wasn't.
Mario come out this year.
Yeah, yeah, I said that
Oh,
people were bitching because Chris Pratt, but then Chris Pratt ended up doing a good job. Like Nintendo didn't think, like Chris Pratt isn't a freaking actor, like he can't act. Like yes, he can. He's been in
yeah.
some of the best franchises, Jurassic Park, the Marvels, Star Lord. Fuck, I mean, he made me fall in love with Marvel, back in the early 2000 teens. But so that was
$1.36 billion is what the
yep,
Super Mario Brothers movie made.
yep. And now because of that success, what are we getting next from Nintendo? Zelda. So I mean, there's a
Oh,
lot of good things that came up from that.
God, don't fuck up Zelda. Don't fuck
My
up Zelda.
my second my second story was the Money Can't Buy Love, and it was basically the ABK how Xbox spent 80 billion in the last couple of years between Bethesda and the ABK deal, but yet they haven't produced anything yet, so they can't Money Can't Buy Love. and I forget who wrote that article. I think it was IGN, but I just remember the title. My third one was basically the PSVR 2 and how everybody was shitting on it, and then I gave a quick comparison between the MetaQuest 3 and the PSVR 2 and how well the system is and how awesome it is to play. And then my honorable mention was the layoffs. We had a lot of layoffs
Yeah,
this year, and that was sad from both sides, Xbox and PlayStation. PlayStation being the most recent with Bungie, but Xbox, I mean, 12K, or Microsoft, 12,000 people let go. Like, dude, that's 12,000 families. Like, you multiply that times the average family of four, like, we're talking over 50,000 people here that are affected, if not more, you know? So those were my four, my three, with the four being the honorable mention of the layoffs.
that's so. Twisted Sin just said that Sony's movie production are the ones who are going to be working on the Zelda film.
Well, of
That's
course, Gran Turismo,
awesome.
Uncharted. I mean, they're working on Horizon, they're working on God of War. Logical sense.
No, but that's literally Sony breaking and not breaking. Don't take this the wrong. It's Sony literally saying, "Hey, our movie division and our gaming division, even though they intertwine and intersect, they are separate."
Dude, they're
And
top of
so,
the
like,
line.
we can produce these great movies that might
Absolutely.
use IP from other places.
Remember, Sony is an entertainment company from top to bottom.
Sony
Everything
is,
they make is entertainment purposes, from their TVs to their headphones to the Walkman back in the 80s to the PlayStation, everything. And remember, the relationship between PlayStation or Sony and Nintendo go back. It goes to the initiation of the PlayStation. It goes back to the Super Nintendo and the NES. I mean, their relationship is something that's organic and been forged throughout the decades. It's something that Microsoft has been trying to buy and they can never achieve. Therefore, money can't buy
yeah, but
love.
Sony and Nintendo for the longest have not played nice together. And so to see this happening, I think that's a really cool stepping stone in the right direction. Like, oh,
Who
no, no,
played
no,
with each
no.
other right
Th-
after.
those two companies started out hating each other.
Oh, well, yeah, but look at how the relationship has gone over the years. And they're putting the most important thing, like, yeah, and I absolutely agree. There is no love lost, between them, absolutely. But they're putting that stuff to the side to do for what's best, which was what's going to grow both companies even more. I mean, I expect Sony and something that I was watching, I was telling them earlier while you were checking out your family, is that I was watching the top tens, and for a lot of people, and a lot of these journalists put Alan Wake number
Uh-huh.
one. Now, me and you didn't do that. We actually gave our own top tens, and a lot of the gamers in our community also don't bring up Alan Wake. But the point is that the journalists, they're always butting heads with the actual gamer, where the Last of Us TV show, they rated episode, I forgot what episodes, but the episode they rated the highest is the episodes that we rated the lowest. So we're constantly butting heads. And the I predict that in the future, in the near future, next 5, 10 years, because the video game media, you cannot get this experience no other way, right? You are the main character, you control it. You cannot do that with movies, it is a passive. You cannot do that with music, it is passive entertainment. So I predict that in the next 5, 10 years, Sony and Nintendo will expand into other forms of entertainment in a much greater capacity. Well, they will actually be part of, which Sony already does now, but it will get expanded even more into the movie production. And of course, Sony, it has record labels in the music, which has signed some of the biggest music artists in the world.
Yeah, sorry, I'm responding to chat. Guys, I can't do two things at once. Um, but I think PlayStation has. I think they're really making a lot of good moves, and this is one of the things that I mentioned at the opening of the show when you look at the leaks that just happened, okay? They happened a couple weeks ago. And like I said at the beginning, there's Xbox loyalists out there who are like, I love that this is happening, blah, 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 serves them right for being quiet, tell your people what they want to hear, blah, blah, blah.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm like, y'all do realize that 97% of what was in that leak spelled the destruction of Xbox, right?
Yep.
Josh and I were talking about this a little bit in the Discord earlier. Like, literally, most of what was released showed that PlayStation is dominant, PlayStation has the contracts, PlayStation's getting the funding, PlayStation's getting the license agreements for the biggest IPs, and Xbox ain't getting shit. You're getting Blade in 2027. Like, so once again, you showed a game that's 4 years out.
And
Congratulations.
they're hyping it up. Like, and mind you, I mean, this is rumors, but Marvel, what is it, 6 million that they need to do? Or that's the rumor that they have to do 6 million in order for them to stick with the licensing, or
Yeah, I
just
think the
to
game
stay
has
with
to
the
make
franchise.
above a certain amount, and when I read the amount, I was like, holy crap
They're
on a
not gonna
stick.
do that. They're not gonna do that. I mean, look, we have one of the biggest games. I mean, arguably one of the biggest games. Talked about that people been anticipating. That people, it's been the talk of the town. Starfield. And look how